What's up, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of Casters of Horror. I am Chris Mess.
I'm Shane, and today we're breaking down Terrifier 2 producer Steve Barton.
Yeah, so this one's going to be a little, breaking down. He doesn't quite break down.
No, he doesn't.
We'll put it that way. But this one's going to be a little bit of a different episode. We got the opportunity to sit down with producer, actor, visionary Mr. Steve Barton.
That's right.
But we'll get into that a little later. But first off, we've got a little bit of movie news. All right. So first off, this one's actually really near and dear to Uncle Creepy, or Mr. Steve Barton himself.
Okay.
He actually posted this one on his Twitter yesterday, I believe it was. Maybe it was the day before. I don't remember. But when you guys watch this, it'll be a few days back. But Elm Street 2 star Mark Patton, who played Jesse Walsh, he is in need of some help at this point. There is a GoFundMe in place to help him out. But anyway, he is in some medical need at this point. So someone in our horror community is needing some medical help. He's had some issues with HIV and AIDS in the last many years since I want to say 99. But anyway, he is in a hospital down in Mexico at this point, but he's needing some funds to be able to get back here to the States to get the medical attention that he needs for what he's going through. He's been dealing with not only HIV, but also TB and some other things. And with COVID, it's not a great situation.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you guys want to help out or share the word, go over to Uncle Creepy's Twitter account, which I'll post right down here. Go over there. He's got the link. You guys can click on that. We've also shared it from our Casters of Horror page. If you guys aren't following, make sure you do that. But anyway, check it out. Help however you can.
Yeah, and if you happen to not be in the U.S. and are wondering why this is an issue, we have, I guess, good healthcare here. It's just stupid expensive.
I was like, do we?
Yeah, well, and I guess that's debatable. If you're rich, if you have a lot of money, you can get access to good healthcare.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah, it's pretty
really,
bad.
really
we don't really take care of our people around here.
America.
So
America. Yeah. No, my dad was actually in the hospital for a couple strokes and heart issues and all that sort of stuff. And they were like, hey, we're going to feed you and all that sort of, feed you, it's like, you got to pay for it all, whatever.
Yeah.
But they gave him this menu of stuff, and it's all heart related. They gave him this menu of stuff that was just horrible for a person, like dietary. And I'm like, why are you eating that? But anyway, America. So put that country gravy in your veins. Moving on. We've got a little bit of exciting news. Mr. Paul Feig has joined up with Sam Raimi, and they're going to be doing a horror comedy called Suburban Hell, based off a novel by Maureen Kilmer. It's the story of a tight-knit group of suburban moms whose friendship is put to the ultimate test when one of them becomes possessed by an evil spirit. So, Paul Feig, I like him.
Yeah.
Bridesmaids, and I didn't see the one with Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. I didn't watch that one. It was anyway. I heard that one was good. And then there was the Ghostbusters reboot.
Oh yeah.
And yep, there's that.
Have you seen that yet?
Anyway, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you got around to it.
I actually went and saw that one in theaters when it came out.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about the all-female cast reboot.
Oh,
not the not the Paul Rudd,
Okay.
Finn Wolfhard.
Not the good one. Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
okay.
talking about the box office,
the forgettable one.
whatever.
Right.
Yes,
The one who, like, as soon as the credits rolled, I couldn't remember any of the characters' names or like what actually happened in the movie. That one.
yeah.
Okay.
However, Chris Hemsworth was hilarious. I thought he was funny in it.
Oh yeah, he was in that, wasn't he? I forgot.
Yeah, he was in that. Anyway, yeah. So I'm excited to see that one. So far, I don't know anything about it going into production as of yet. I just know that they will be putting it out. So anyway, something to look forward to for the future. Why not? You had something. A little bit of it's not a well-known show at this point. It's it's a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's heard of the title of it.
Yeah, just a little thing. I think what it was, like 45 million viewers, second best premiere ever for HBO Max. This would be the adaptation of The Last of Us has started streaming. First episode is out now. And I think it's going to be released over the course of 9 weeks. Every Sunday. Okay. So, dude, it's good.
Really?
And not just good for a video game adaptation, which I will say, I personally think it is the best video game adaptation I've ever seen.
Okay.
But you're going to see some, fanboys on there saying it's breaking the curse of bad adaptations. No, there have been plenty of really great adaptations of video games. This one is just really, really good. So, and I would say, not only do you not have to have played the game to watch this, I actually think you might benefit from not having played the game. So, don't worry about that one bit. Go watch it. It is so good. I've watched it twice already. So
right up my alley. Then I have not played the game, and I need to watch it. So, cool. Very, very cool. You got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
That's all we got for movie news. Like I said earlier, we got to sit down with Mr. Uncle Creepy himself, Steve Barton. He not only was the producer of Terrifier 2, but he's also produced a lot of other films. He got his start with Fangoria, doing some of the message boards and stuff, and then left there and started DreadCentral. A little known, place called DreadCentral. You guys may or may not have heard of it.
And if you haven't, you'll hear a little bit about it during the interview.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to sit down with him this last week and chat. We go from his life story all the way into Terrifier 2, how he got involved, and we'll let you guys check it out.
Yeah.
Let's take a little dive back into the past, if you will. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, let's doodly do back to the past.
All right, let's go back to the past. Here we go.
Yeah.
You doing this, by the way?
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but things went fucking nuts for a little while.
I know. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a crazy situation for a little bit, and now that things are finally calming down a little, I've been going through my emails, and I'm like, all right, who did I miss? Who haven't I responded to? And I'm like, okay, I got a bunch of shit I got to catch up on. But it's funny. It's like, around like early December, we all just hit like a collective wall.
Yeah.
And we were just like, fuck. We all need to rest. And thankfully we did that. So
yeah, I was telling Shane, I was like, oh shit, we're gonna be the guys who follow up Kevin Smith.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. So I was like, oh. And from the guys who dared to follow up Kevin Smith on an interview in a podcast. So
yeah, totally. But that's cool, dude.
Yeah. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, man. It's a little fish in a big pond.
Yeah, absolutely. But Anyway, well, I appreciate you doing this. We're already recording. Might as well.
Yeah.
You look entirely too much like me, Chris.
I know. It's like when I first saw your picture, I was like, are we related? Who knows?
20 years into your future.
Oh, not that far even. I looked you up. We're not that far. about 8. So
dude, I turned 50 in June. I'm like, who said this shit was okay?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm close. Yeah. Like I said, 8 years, but that'll go by.
Sometimes you feel 50 though, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you this, man. It's all fucking downhill from where you are, buddy.
Oh, we've both felt like that for a few years, honestly.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Well, so how did you get started in all this? First off, if you don't mind me asking.
First, the Earth cooled, and then the dinosaurs came.
Okay, and the asteroids and whatnot. Yeah,
dude, I've been in this business now for 27 years.
Wow.
Which is fucking nuts. I mean, it started with like fanzines, shit like that, and one day, I'm 4 years old, as looking around at what you guys have behind you. I'm guessing you are too, and that's fine because I'm amongst my people.
Yeah.
Right.
And, the girl I was with at the time bought me this roaring Jurassic Park cage off of eBay, you know? And basically, it was just a fucking hollow cardboard box. You press a button, and it roars, right?
Yeah.
But again, as a 4-year-old, I'm pressing that button 19 times a day, right? I'm like, great. And turns out the person she bought it from lived down the street from me. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And he had called me, and he's like, hey, instead of me mailing this, why don't I just walk it over? And I said, sure, that's great. And went outside to meet the guy, and he turns the corner, and it's Tony Timpone from Fangoria magazine.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, well, holy shit, you're Tony. And, we got together. We became fast friends. He gave me my first job officially working for the Fangoria message boards, which was a job I did for free because associated with Fangoria, my nerd boner is still hard.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my in. And as my tenure there continued, it became apparent that I could do a little bit more than just, run message boards. And he had introduced me to this other company who I don't want to name because every time I do, they show up like fucking Candyman and I can't stand them. And I went to work there, and that's where DreadCentral was born. And DreadCentral.
By the way, shout out Tony Todd because he watches. So,
hey, what's up? You sexy bastard! I miss you. So yeah, dude. He gave me my start. He introduced me to this new company, and I created DreadCentral as like the news area of that company.
Okay.
And then it became apparent that that company wasn't going anywhere. And I was like, all right, well, I'm fucking out, man.
Yeah.
And they fired me for ridiculous reasons because I wasn't compliant with their vision. And I'm a lot of things. Compliant is probably not one of them. So, at that point, everything stopped, and then we decided to just take DreadCentral and open it up as its own company. And that was 18 years that I created and served as editor-in-chief there.
Wow. So you don't have any sort of function with DreadCentral anymore. You've
not a
stepped away. You're like, I don't even follow them on social media.
I don't go there. I don't visit it. It's not what I do. Well, listen, it was during my time at DreadCentral. I don't want to make it sound like, I'm sour on it. I am in no way sour. I am very, very proud of everything that site has accomplished, especially under my tenure. and we won several awards. We became
Yep.
one of the big two, and it was great. It was great, and during that time there, that's where I met the people who ended up mentoring me: George Romero, Sid Haig,
Okay.
Wow.
and became fast friends with them, and that was like a fucking
Yeah.
dream, dude. Sometimes I still have to pinch myself. I mean, if you're going to be mentored by somebody in
Oh, yeah.
the industry, George Romero and Sid Haig, that's like two big fucking wheels on either side of it, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
they taught me a lot. They taught me how to treat people. They taught me my way around the business. And if it wasn't for either of them, I wouldn't be here right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And DreadCentral went on to do a lot of great things, but as it always happens, the fucking bottom dropped out of the .com industry for the 82nd time. But this one was a little different because instead of people how we would make money at DreadCentral is the studios would, advertise with us. And, that was great. And for a while, we were doing really good. My first 8 years at DreadCentral, I didn't make a penny, not a dime.
Yeah.
I was working retail at a GameStop. I was fucking waking up 4 a.m, updating the news, updating the website, going to GameStop, working till sometime in the afternoon, coming home and being Uncle Creepy again till fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. And then, I literally didn't sleep more than 3-4 hours a night for about 8 years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And, once we did start making money, that was great. Because it was Christmas, I got to quit GameStop. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm quitting GameStop." And that was nice. But no, well, we made money for 8 years, but I always felt it was more important because DreadCentral was mine and my partners. We both felt it was more important to pay the writers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't pay them much. I'm not saying we were solely responsible for people making a living. Certainly that wasn't the case, but we paid them what we could. We weren't making very much.
Yeah. You take care of those people who are taking care of you. Absolutely.
Exactly. So after that, it was going good for quite a few years. And then social media reared its head. And then the studios, instead of wanting to advertise with sites like us, Bloody Disgusting, I mean, how many websites have gone websites? How did I say that so weird? Websites. How many websites have gone away? That were good, that were great.
Yeah.
And instead of advertising with us, they wanted to open up Instagram pages and have people pay people to fucking post things for them all day and blah blah blah. And then after weeks, it was gone. And then, even worse, they were like, "Hey man, can you do a story about our Instagram page?" I'm like, "Oh, the one thing putting us out of business? Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a conflict of interest of any sort."
Oh, why would it be?
Jeez.
So eventually, we went from making decent money to almost no money.
Yeah.
And it happened in the blink of an eye. It literally did. And we had a choice. We either closed up shop or we sold. And one of the things I'm most proud of DreadCentral is under my watch, we never had a parent company.
Nice.
We did everything ourselves. Everything was put together by me and my staff. There was nobody telling us what to do. We created our own narrative. And the narrative was that indie filmmakers should have as much of a voice as, studio filmmakers.
Oh, yeah.
So, because you never know where the next Carpenter is going to come from, where the next Sam Raimi is going to come from. So it was very important to us to give everyone a level playing field for the fans to decide what's cool and what's not. So we tried a few things. We tried Patreon. People wouldn't pay $1 a month to get the site ad free, which blew my mind, dude. It's a fucking $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone finds $1, it usually means I lost it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. And, I was cool with closing up shop. But then Epic Pictures Group came in and they were like, hey, we love what you guys do. We want to spin off DreadCentral into a DVD label for our genre releases. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds. Excuse me, my allergies are all over.
No, that's fun.
I'm like, on paper, that sounds like a really great idea, like a natural evolution.
Yep.
And at the time, this dude is no longer with the company, and he shall remain nameless. But at the time we did that, this one dude who was really overseeing the DreadCentral area of Epic Pictures, he was one of those people who wanted a yes man.
Yep.
And me as Dr. Non-Compliant.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a lot of things. A yes man is in no way, shape, or form any of them. And when something was wrong or I disagreed with something, after 18 years of doing this shit, I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with this. I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. So I became difficult to work with.
Yeah, yes.
That's okay. So it came time to release the first DreadCentral Presents release, and I watched a ton of movies. All of them sucked. All of them. And, well, I ended up picking two releases. One was a documentary, and the other was Terrifier. The documentary was To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story, which is an amazing documentary.
Yeah.
And Terrifier, it's funny. Damian Leone emailed me, and he's like, hey, Steve, I have this thing. I didn't know him. He didn't know me, but we knew of each other. Things like All Hallows Eve and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I have this thing. Can you take a look at it for me and just tell me what you think? And I was like, well, sure. So he sent me over Terrifier, and I watched it, and then it ended. And then I watched it again. And then I watched it again.
Yeah.
And I called him back. I'm like, what are you doing with this movie? He's like, well, we're not doing anything with it. At that time, he was having a real problem getting the movie distributed because, it's not family friendly in any way.
Yeah. Was this after his? Now, did he go through Indiegogo on that, or was that
the first Terrifier?
Yeah.
The first Terrifier was crowdfunded as well.
Okay, so this is after.
Yeah,
after he'd already funded.
Movies in the can, and he's been shopping it for probably about a year.
Okay,
but everybody wanted him to edit the movie. Everybody wanted to do this, wanted to do that.
Yep.
And listen, Terrifier is what it is. If you remove a frame of Terrifier, it's no longer Terrifier.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of a dozen evil clown movies.
Yeah.
So to me, it was very important that this movie does not get edited. So I went back to Epic. I said, listen, here's this movie. This is it. This is the one. We need to have this. And they took my advice and they acquired the movie. And it became apparent very soon after that they did not like the movie. And so things got kind of hairy for a little while. They wanted, just like everyone else, they were like, this isn't marketable. At this time, Stephen King's It was in theaters. So, like, the world's already had a killer clown movie. We don't need two of them. Maybe we should change the name. Maybe we should do this. And maybe it should be #Terrifier to get it actually like the top of Redbox. And I'm like,
yeah, social media once again ruining everything.
Attempting to, wow.
This is the type of stuff we were running into. And I had so many arguments with them over, particularly this one person, who unfortunately was the one really leaning on me. And it got so bad that I stood up in one of the meetings and I said to them, listen, if this movie does not perform like I think it's going to perform, you can have my part of the company. I will walk away.
Wow.
And, I don't know why, man. I believed in this movie. There was something there. Yeah. And there was enough there, be it either out of frustration or blind faith, maybe a little bit of both, that made me say, if this doesn't work, I'm out. You could have my company. And at that point, I really think it was a good excuse to get rid of me because I already said I would go, right?
Yeah.
And let's face it, the odds weren't exactly in my favor at all, you know? So the movie comes out, and almost immediately the fans just fucking embrace this thing, you know?
Rightfully so.
And before we knew it, there was like merch. People were making stuff. I was at a convention just a couple months after the movie was released, and I see people walking around with Art the Clown shirts, and I called Damien. I'm like, dude, do we have merch? We don't have merch. I'm like, well, I think we have something here, right? And murals started popping up all over the world of Art the Clown, and people were getting tattoos. And let me tell you something, that was some really sweet vindication for me, because after 18 years, to know that I still know what I'm talking about, you know, that felt really good. And Terrifier ended up being not just DreadCentral Presents bestseller, but one of Epic Pictures Group's biggest sellers ever.
Wow.
And not a thank you, nothing.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was still difficult to work with. And so I just said, fuck it, I'm bouncing.
Yeah.
And I shut that door, and it was scary, you know. Being Uncle Creepy was the only thing I knew how to do, right?
Yeah.
And it was a really weird point in time for me. And, you know, by this time, George had already passed. Sid was not doing well, you know, so I didn't really have that support system that I normally had, where I could call them and they could they had this uncanny ability to shine like a divine light on something that was right in front of me all the time that I never noticed, you know?
Yeah. I can relate to that.
So, you know, it was a really low point in my life, you know, and then Sid eventually passed, and I was fucking lost, dude. You know, I did DreadCentral every day for 18 years. I'm not doing it anymore. Does anyone give a shit what I even have to say anymore? Does anyone even know who I was or what I did? You know, imposter syndrome is a real thing. It really is. And we all go through it in every part of our lives, whether you're an internet celebrity or whether you're a fucking guy making the best hamburgers at a fast food joint. They're all equally important, you know?
I've been at least one of those.
Yeah.
And the celebrity is not it.
Well, join the club, man. I don't know how the fuck I got here.
Yeah.
Not that I am a celebrity by any straight mention. I don't even know what the fuck I am. I'm lucky. That's the only thing I know I am at this point.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, you know, Sid and George were no longer here.
Yeah.
And I had all of this fucking knowledge in here that they gave me. And I had nowhere to put it. So what I started doing was I started mentoring people, you know, people who had questions for me. And I would do it for free, you know. I'm going to ask anybody. If someone gives a fuck what I have to say, I'm happy and shocked. You know, I'm like, pay me. That was never part of the equation.
Yeah.
So Damien came to me and he's like, you know, Steve, we're going to do a part 2. And I was like, dude, I have to be part of this. You know, I mean, this is in my DNA now. It's not even that I had to be part of it because it was like the only real tangible thing I had left.
Yeah.
It had to be part of it because I fucking believed in it.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really believed in it. And he was kind enough to bring me on board after every fucking thing that everyone had put us through.
Yeah.
And he started crowdfunding the movie. They launched the campaign. It made its goal in less than 3 hours.
Wow.
You know, they asked for 50. We made 200 something, you know, and that was the first of many, many miracles. To Terrifier 2. And yeah, man, that's how I got here in front of you guys.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow. What a journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost downhill at the last second too.
Yeah,
Now that he's here in front of us.
yeah, it gets no lower than this, guys.
Oh man, I know. We set the bar here, and we limbo every week.
Oh,
So-
dude, I've been under the limbo bar my whole life.
Yeah.
No, I totally relate with where you were at that point. I was a chef, had a food truck, had worked in restaurants. My mentor, I was going the route of food host, that sort of route. And my mentor from New Jersey, he ended up passing a couple of years ago, and everything for me just kind of fell apart. And doing this podcast is really what picked me back up. So, I mean, it's no money, but it's picking me back up. But yeah,
Well, I'm living proof that a hobby could turn into a business.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if I could do it, and I'm a schmuck,
Hey,
Yeah.
we'll schmuck with
Yeah.
you. We will schmuck with
there's always room for more schmucks in my life.
you.
Nice.
All right, so you also did a little bit of acting, I heard too. Yeah,
Dude, when I was with DreadCentral, I did fucking everything.
yeah,
I was in Hatchet 2. I was in Chillerama.
yeah. With the movie Crypt guys.
Yeah, I was in Survival of the Dead. I played one of the main zombies in George's last movie, which was
Wow.
Nice.
you want to talk about your life coming full circle. That
Yeah.
was, I mean, my bucket list is over, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a Romero zombie. I shit in John Carpenter's personal bathroom at his house. I've done this,
Man.
Wow.
So, I've shit in the bowls of legends,
Yeah.
dude.
Man, life goals.
Oh.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I thought my bucket list was over, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The success of the original Terrifier, if I had to go out on a career of 18 years, because it is very much my swan song from that company, that's the note I wanted to go out on.
Yeah.
I was at least integral in giving the world a new horror villain to get behind. I'll never say icon, because that's not up to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is a horror icon, or who is a horror icon, or what is the next cult movie?
Yeah.
That's for fans to decide.
Yeah. It's the people who make the merchandise, the shirts,
They're the only ones
get the tattoos.
They're the only ones who could bestow that honor. So
Yeah.
I helped to give the world a new horror villain to get behind and watch big on.
Yeah.
And if my career at DreadCentral amounted to anything, I was happy that it amounted to that.
Yeah.
Because that seemed like the only logical way for me to go out.
Yeah.
Go out on top. I proved what I knew. I saw this was going to be good. It was good. People liked it. But I didn't make the fucking decision to quit DreadCentral any easier.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is the fact that this, like you said, it's a villain that people can get behind, but like you said, there's a difference between an icon and someone that I think icons are created almost in a way. At least it seems that way now. Like we look at the, and you may think different on the new Halloween movies, but at least the last one. But as far as them I'm sorry, I was not a fan of Ends. I'm gonna throw that out there.
We were not.
Yeah, we made mention of that many times on the podcast. It was Twilight with a horror villain every once in a while. But
Fair.
suits try to make icons.
Yeah.
Whereas people who are true fans of something try to create someone or something new and original to follow, like what has been done with Art the Clown. Mm-hmm. And I think that's I think for true fans of horror and the people who really get deep into it, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that new voice or that new whoever it is that they can just sink their teeth into, not say, hey, here's Freddy Krueger again, or hey, here's, Mike Myers again, or hey, here's Jason again. It's those new, fresh approaches that what people are really getting behind right now. And that's to see that happen with Terrifier 2 just recently. It just blew my mind. And
I can tell you that nobody's minds were blown more than ours.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, listen, when Bloody Disgusting, and I want to make this clear, Bloody Disgusting, Cinedigm, Icon Events, they're fucking heroes, dude.
Yeah.
They did something nobody would have expected. And I think it found success for, it's funny. It's like, most people when they encounter a studio that wants to put their movie theatrically, they're met with joy and, oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
We were just fucking confused. We're like, did you watch this? Really? So, I mean, the whole ride was so unexpected because, we thought we were getting. Well, it's funny, too, because, the whole time the mood on set is, just go as far as you want with the kills. This shit ain't ever going to play in a theater.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So, it just. Everything about this movie has just been magic. It really has.
Well, it's
so we thought we were getting, October 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah.
And listen, I've been a part of many, many things. The Hatchet Army, I helped start with Adam.
Yeah.
To get people to show up to something is really difficult.
Yeah.
And then the numbers started coming back on Sunday evening that we made just over $1 million. And we were like, what? Right? Like, we were doing the We Are the Champions speech, right?
Yeah.
We're fucking crying. We're like, holy shit, we did something important. That's cool.
Yeah. He and I were texting back and forth, watching the numbers coming in. We're like, dude,
it's up here. It's up here.
Dude, look at this.
We were doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Okay? And Monday came. They're like, well, we want to put you back in theaters. We want to keep you there.
Yeah.
And we never knew how long we were going to be there until the following Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole ride was never planned. And the only hitch with week 2 was going to be that AMC didn't sign on. So now we were in 300 less theaters that second weekend.
Yeah.
And then the numbers came in and we made even more money.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Right? And then people started passing out and throwing up. And we found out about this shit just as the same exact way you guys did.
Yeah.
And some people, that was a brilliant marketing scheme. We weren't smart enough to even think of it. Right? So here's this little movie that's outperforming just about everything else in the theater.
Yeah.
And it was made for $250,000. We had no marketing budget whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing on fucking that morning talk show. What is it? The Talk? Jerry O'Connell was talking about it. I'm like, what the fuck is
wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, whoever the marketing team is behind this is doing such a... And I'm like, it's tweeting and Bloody Disgusting tweeting and the fans.
Yeah.
That was the whole marketing team.
Yeah, I've seen a lot on Twitter just from people.
Yeah, man. We trended about a dozen times.
Yeah.
You can't trend once on Twitter if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And shit just kept getting crazier and crazier. And before you knew it, Howard Stern was talking about it, and Stephen King was talking about it. And then, dude, then the Buffalo Bills, 2 of their fucking players were wearing Terrifier shoes.
I put that on the podcast. Yeah.
So we're just all sitting there, absolutely gobsmacked. You know, we didn't expect. I mean, listen, we knew we made a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we made this movie specifically for the people that liked the first one. We weren't trying to reach a larger audience. We thought it had the probability and it was good enough to reach a larger audience. But at the end of the day, you know, fans, with how much they loved the first one and how hard they championed it, you know, they gave us something really special. So we, with the sequel, wanted to give fans back something equally as special.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, everything turns into a talking point. The runtime turns into a talking point. People puking turns into a talking point.
Yeah.
Fucking people passing out turns into a talking point.
Yeah.
Every single thing kept this movie in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And we don't know how it happened. But the one thing we do know beyond anything, and I mean this wholeheartedly, that we are the little guys, you know, where 9 people made Terrifier 2.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So when it came to this ride, we were like, the fans weren't just fucking on the ride with us. They were in the car with us. You know what I mean? We had no idea what the fuck was going on. And we were just as surprised every day. And I can tell you, we are as humbled and as thankful and as touched as humanly possible with how much people have taken this movie that we made and just turned it into something that none of us could have ever expected. And I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank the fans enough. I can't thank anybody who's ever spent a second watching Terrifier or Terrifier 2 enough. It's all of you collectively have changed a lot of lives. And I think the most important part of this journey isn't really for us who made Terrifier 2. I think the most important part of this journey is that given the success of this movie, it opens the door for other filmmakers to get a chance with their movies.
Absolutely.
And it also opens the door for theaters to say, you know what, maybe this not rated shit isn't so taboo. You know? My favorite quote of this whole journey was one time somebody asked Damien, how did you get this past the MPAA? And Damien said, we just didn't show it to them. You know?
I love it.
Wow.
That really is everything. We just didn't show it. You know? We said, fuck you. We know what you're going to do with our movie. You know what I mean? It was just destined to fail if the MPA had anything to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
it's interesting because I feel like there is something special about it, obviously. And I've discussed with Chris on the podcast before how when it comes to horror, slashers are his thing. They're not my thing. It's actually my least favorite genre or subgenre within horror. But Terrifier, as soon as I watched it, I'm like, well, I have to watch the second one immediately. And when I did, I texted Chris and I'm just like, Chris is going to love this movie. I know he's going to love it. And you know, we were doing it for the podcast, so I was taking notes the whole time, and I'm like, okay, screw this. Now I'm going to watch it again. You know, and I'm like, and then I look at our podcast numbers, and you know, with the audio, the Terrifier 2 episode has as many downloads as the next 4 episodes combined, right? And I'm like, this movie has struck a chord even with the horror fans who maybe this isn't their favorite genre. Like, something special has been done here, and for someone who's not a slasher fan, I gotta say, like, Terrifier 3 has got to be one of my most anticipated movies now. You know, so it's I don't know, the team has done something so special. You have crossed this boundary that has I don't know, man.
I mentioned to you, Shane, at one point, I said, this to me is the greatest fan film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what it is. You can tell that the whole group that worked on it, the whole team, are fans of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
yeah, and it's not just a fan of the genre. It's a fan of literally what they are putting their hands to every day that they went to go do this.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I was like, this made me happy. This made me excited for movies again. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And I have to say that there's a lot of unsung heroes who really, and this isn't masturbatory and it's not backpedaling. But,
I mean, we can turn the cameras off if you want, or stop recording for a minute.
I have zero shame. So I don't really. I don't have any more fucks to give in my life. To be honest,
just if you have kids, turn them away for a brief second. Well,
yeah, I promise. Maybe a little too brief. So,
see, he is me in 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brother, where have you been, my life?
Exactly.
No, in all honesty, there's a few people that really don't get enough praise for what they do. One is Phil and Lisa Falcone. These movies do not exist without them. They are literally the heart and souls of the Terrifier franchise. So without Phil and Lisa, nobody would have these movies. They're there every step of the way for both films. Another is George Stuber, our cinematographer. These movies
beautiful
look
film,
good because of him. And
beautiful film.
and the Levy brothers and the Fuzz on the Lens gang and everybody who worked. I think that's why you, as you said so kindly, you could see that everybody really enjoyed themselves because it's very much a family. We enjoy each other, and I guess it's pretty much, it's no surprise there'll eventually be a Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same crew.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same small crew. These movies do not lend themselves to a big crew, and I think that we proved we know what we're doing with these movies. There's a certain type of alchemy to them that cannot be faked and cannot be cheated, and it's Damien is a genius, and I do not throw that term around loosely. He has this nicest guy in the world. He will not compromise his vision. Good. He knows exactly the story he wants to tell, and it's already been decided that once there's no story left to tell, we're not just going to keep making Terrifier movies, regardless of how much they make. We'd rather have 3 or 4 solid films than 10 movies with 3 or 4 solid entries. And he knows what he wants. He knows the story that he's going to tell. He has. If you think you saw Sick already, you haven't seen it.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I remember, I can't remember if I said this on our podcast or if I just told Chris privately, but I'm like, I wish, obviously, the team all success, but there's a part of me that hopes that some huge studio doesn't come in and just throw money because
never happened.
Yeah, well, because I'm like, it's so obvious that this was a labor of love, and I just want it to stay that way.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, people have been knocking. Not going to say that they're not, but it's not conducive to it's not a studio film.
Yeah.
You could. There's no possibility of Blumhouse presenting Terrifier 3. It's not happening.
Yeah,
it's a dark age cinema movie. It's us and whomever distributes it. Who's to say we don't self-distribute it at this point? It's
absolutely.
It's the universe that Damien and Phil and everybody else has helped create, and it has legs, it has scope. And the third one with Terrifier 2, Damien was like, oh well, the main critique of the first one was there's no story. Well, hold my beer. Okay. And there isn't a story in the first one. It doesn't have to be a story in the first.
No.
So the next one, he has some really fucking psychotic ideas. I mean, really psychotic. and it's gonna be fresh. It's gonna be Terrifier 3, and that's the only thing it has to be. We're not going to try, as we did with the first one, and as we did with the second one. We're making these movies for the fan base, and if other people start enjoying them like they did with 2, great. But that doesn't mean we're going to cater to any one audience or try to reach other audiences. You find us, you like it, that's great. We're not looking for you. You know what I mean? We're looking for the people that love this shit. And another studio, they wouldn't let us make it as violent as it needed to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they used 7 gallons of blood in the original Terrifier. In Terrifier 2, we used over 20.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And I can guarantee you we're going to use even more than that in part 3.
60. They're going exponentially here.
I mean, it was so bad that Casey Hartnett, who played Allie in the bedroom scene, it was so bad for this poor actor that at one point she literally stuck to the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Had to be removed. She had to be removed she was so covered in blood. And you know what?
Wow.
She never complained.
Yeah.
Nobody ever complained. Catherine Corcoran in Terrifier 2, hanging upside down, never complained. Wanted to do it, you know? Yeah. And it's been amazing. This whole journey has been so crazy. And I know we have more to give. And I can't wait for you guys to see what we're going to cook up for part 3, because it's going to be like getting served a steak in a McDonald's. You know?
We're excited.
It's like belong there, but it totally fucking belongs there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm ready. Yeah. I was ready once the moment that the last one ended. I was like, where's 3? Let's do this. So
you know what though? We're also of the mindset that we're not going to rush these movies out.
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
The second one has legs. I think the second one can breathe for a little while.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's still breathing plenty well.
As you see, when somebody tries to make a new entry every year, you lose a lot. And also that you become too familiar with what's going on, and it stops feeling special.
Yeah.
You know? Look at the Paranormal Activity movies. After like the third one, it really stopped feeling fucking special. You know, it's just like, oh, here we go again, and we don't want to get there. We want to keep making movies that entertain people. David Howard Thornton is so good at what he does.
He's amazing.
Fantastic.
He and Damien are like the dream duo on set. They have like their own language when they're together, you know?
Yeah.
And you know what's great about David is like he takes the character so seriously. Like if you ever see him at a convention, you know, and if he's dressed up as art, because Damien will go and he'll totally make him up screen accurate, right?
Nice.
And he'll go to a convention, and the second that makeup is on him and he puts that little hat on, he does not say a word the entire time.
Wow.
He walks differently. He moves differently.
Yeah.
And David, he's the sweetest guy in the world. He's like the living embodiment of Roger fucking Rabbit, you know? He's the nicest dude you ever want to meet.
Yeah.
But as soon as that Art the Clown persona is there, I mean, he's still a nice guy. He's not going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
It's just like he's in character. And I think the fans, when they do those photo ops with him, they see him dressed like that, and the way he interacts with them, I think that really makes them so happy. I mean, one of the most mind-blowing things is this past Monster Mania at Cherry Hill. No, not Cherry Hill. It was in Oaks, Pennsylvania, I think. David was signing there along with Damien, and there were so many great people there. Fucking Devin Sawa, who's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Robert Englund was there.
Wow.
Really?
And I was walking through the room, and David's line was longer than Robert's.
Wow.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
And, you know, but the only thing we use things like that is it's fuel to keep going. It lets us know that we're on the right track. That shit will never go to our heads.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it can. Because once you start thinking the show is about you
and not about the fans and the genre, you've already failed.
Yeah.
You know, so we're very conscious of the fact that these movies need to be made a certain way. The fans are probably the most integral part about them, other than the principals making it.
Yeah.
And we won't let you guys down. You know, we're gonna, even if you think the movie sucks, you'll say, "Wow, that was a lot of fucking fun." You know, so look at it that way.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we'll be there saying,
Absolutely.
"Wow, that's a lot of fucking blood," and I guarantee, I'm hoping and guaranteeing that yes, we're gonna say, "I loved it."
We hope so.
We're pretty confident that we'll say that.
I'm pretty.
We're not confident. We're never confident. We're confident in what we do. We're confident in Damien. We're confident in David's ability. But this is, if this whole experience has taught us anything, it's that you can never ever put your finger on what will happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're never going to go into it thinking we're making the next fucking Terrifier movie. We're going to go into it thinking, trying to make the best movie that we can.
Good.
And that's the mindset.
Good. Yeah. Good people making stuff that they like. And
this is what
stuff
happens
that they
when you
love.
let the inmates run the asylum, dude.
Yeah.
That's why Hollywood's freaking the fuck out because of this, man.
But you know what? It's people who take the resources that they have, the wherewithal that they have, and say, maybe we don't know how to make this work, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And you go and do it. And that's what's amazing to me.
Yeah, it took 3 years to make this movie.
Wow.
Because of COVID, because of a bunch of things.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was part of its success too. Not to say, oh, we were successful because of COVID, because that's a fucking horrible thing to say.
Yeah.
I think that over the last few years, we've all been through so much shit.
Yeah.
You know, that everybody was just ready to let their hair down and have a good time. Even the bald guys like you and me,
I was
ready to let their hair down.
Yeah.
Right?
It just unzip and let the hair down.
There was no totally. There's no heavy-handed message. There's the lights fucking dimmed in the theater, and that was akin to the safety bar coming down on the roller coaster and just take the fucking ride and have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's all we wanted people to do.
Yeah.
And again, I think people were just so ready for an experience like that. That it was like perfect timing, perfect venue. It'll probably never happen again.
Yeah.
You know, we can't ever say, well, 3 will have the same success as 2. No one can say that.
Yeah.
The only thing we could do is try to make the best movie we can. And that's our only job. You know?
Well, if there's
I was going to say, I had wondered, to Chris at one point that if modern audiences have just been spoiled by like generic horror or something, because Terrifier movies get pretty demented, but I remember mentioning to him, like, what are people passing out for it? Did they not grow up watching, like the stuff I watched in the 80s? I
have a theory.
Okay.
Since we're all about the same age, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
There was a time when we were kids where, we'd gather at the park or the playground. Remember when kids went out?
Yeah.
We would all gather and we talk about these disreputable fucking movies.
Mm-hmm.
You see this movie that this happened in, right? So this was like a return to form to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think people have been so getting used to watching movies with CG effects and CG blood and this and that. And don't get me wrong, Josh Petrino, who did some VFX on Terrifier 2, there are VFX. It's mainly practical, but of course there's VFX to accentuate the practical effects.
Yeah.
Right?
As it should be.
And you know what? If you don't see it, he did his job. And that's what it's
absolutely
about. But I think the fact that Damien just would put the fucking camera there where no one else would put it and have these physical effects that have tons of blood, that has animal fat, that has bacon, that has chicken, that has ham. And no matter what you're cutting, you can't replicate actual flesh. You know? You can't do that.
Yeah.
So he'll do that. He went to the butcher shop like a motherfucker, right? It's like when people saw that and they realized that there was this actual viscosity, this actual glue, and you're seeing tendons snapping. I think it really hit them in an unexpected way,
Yeah.
Especially one of the scenes a lot of people threw up from what we hear, was the possum scene. And I was like,
I told Chris, I'm like, you know what? That was actually, to me, the most disgusting part of the movie is the possum scene.
Yeah.
So,
He said it.
Yeah, I think honestly, people have just been so used to seeing, digital blood.
Yeah.
Because when you see it, you're like, okay, we know that's fake.
Yeah. I live in the South. Nothing. That possum to me was just like, why are they not cooking it?
That was right. I get it, but it's weird, dude. I don't know, man. Why do people puke? Why do people hate each other? Predictable,
Yeah.
So, I'm glad they did. We certainly didn't want anyone to get hurt. We didn't want anyone to pass out. We never thought that shit would happen. But you know what? I can honestly say, as a fan and as an enthusiast and as a historian of this genre, that was legit.
Yeah.
That was people were texting me piles of puke. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It happened. There's one podcast, they were the Box Office Boys, where they went to go see the movie hoping that somebody would puke, and 2 people threw up in the theater with them.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And they went into like full-fledged documentarian mode. In the middle, they're taking out their recorders, they're taking pictures of the puke,
filming it.
But when I talked to them, they said the most perplexing thing about it was someone threw up and then left the theater, but everyone around them stood to watch the movie. Someone throws up next to me, I'm getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, people just stayed, dude. And you know what? Thank you. That's the biggest compliment.
Yeah. I would say I would probably, if there was not other seats, I would stay.
Yeah.
I would stay. The whole thing.
Shake the leg off a little. And I'm okay.
Now the Blu-ray's out. It's selling like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's hard to find in stores.
Yeah.
You finally got your copy, I saw.
Dude, fucking best. Because you know what? I will support my own shit. I don't want
Yeah.
I want to go into a store and order from a store because I don't want to leave the house and deal with people.
Exactly.
Why?
Especially around the holidays. So, it's like, fucking, how long does it? Why am I getting it on Friday, dude? People had it like the Friday before. I'm like, Best Buy, what's up, man?
Yeah.
I had to get my own copy so I could, or a couple of copies so I make my own super duper edition. Like, take the Steelbook and put the fucking 4K Blu-ray in the Steelbook.
Hey.
The slip cover from that and put it over the fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got my own special copy of Terrifier too.
He is our people.
Yeah, right? I love Steelbooks.
Oh, dude. Did you get the Steelbook for Terrifier?
I do not. I'm mostly a digital guy, but now and then, for a very rare occasion, for a game or a movie, I will get a Steelbook.
Yeah. I have still been looking.
Oh, look at that.
That's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Okay, but hang on. You got to see the inside of it.
I have been checking every time that I go to a store around here, and I cannot find it anywhere.
Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Clown Cafe scene with the girl on fire.
Oh, I love
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I gotta get that.
Boy, and that scene in the costume shop with the glasses, that's gone super viral, hasn't it?
Again, you're sitting there and people are unpredictable, dude. Like, of all things, we all were saying it after the trailer came out. The fucking Daisy glasses. Of all things, the Daisy glasses.
Yeah.
It's just another thing we're really lucky for.
Yeah.
One meme I saw made me really laugh. It was the picture of Art the Clown with the Daisy glasses. And the meme said, no one fucking ever. And then it said, you know what this movie needs? It needs this. And it was the picture of him with the glasses, and no one's ever said that.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
The whole thing has just been. We're really lucky.
Yeah.
We are really, really. We're just schmucks. You know, we're regular dudes who just we love this stuff so much,
Yeah.
and we're lucky enough to be
Yeah.
able to make something and hopefully entertain people. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
For sure.
That's what this world needs. They just need regular people stepping up
Yeah.
and doing it.
Although I will tell you, it's been rough after because, like, number one, I'm glad the rest of the world finally has to deal with the Clown Cafe song. That's what was in our heads for months.
Yeah.
But you know, I find myself, and I'm not going to say which movies, but you know, post Terrifier 2, once we saw it with all the effects and everything, and
Mhm.
the movie, it even blew us away. You know, just how good everything looked. And I've seen some horror movies post Terrifier 2, and I'm really looking at their kills, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, that could have been
Yeah.
better. And normally these were probably kills that I could have seen pre-Terrifier 2 and been like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
so there's a little bit of spoiling going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, when
I
you
think
see a chest cave in like it did in that bathroom scene, I was like, yeah, that's probably what it looks like. I was just, yeah.
there's just little, you know, the salt stuff. He was just so funny.
Oh, I love
Yes. Wow.
That was one of our favorite scenes because nobody expected him to come back with bleach and
Yeah.
salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's
Oh,
just so mean.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Over the top mean, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Art's a dick.
Yeah. Well, and,
You know,
and I think I mentioned that too. Is like this isn't just a killer character who kills his victims. He plays with them,
No.
right? And so
And
that's
you know what? I think that's what fans have really responded to because, and that's a great point because, and I am in no way, shape, or form saying that our movie is in any way better than classics like fucking Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or even The Prowler or The Mutilator or whatever. But I think that when you have like a Freddy or a Jason or a Michael, they kill somebody and they move on to the next kill. Whereas Art lingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he enjoys that. When Art kills somebody, it's a fucking event.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that fans have really latched onto because you know if he shows up at your front door, something bad's gonna happen to that person.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that was another cool thing to bring him into suburbia too, you know,
Yeah.
instead of just the warehouse like from the first
Yeah.
movie. And
Yeah.
there's so much we did, so much we're grateful for, so much we tried making fresh. I think we succeeded in a few areas, could have done better in some others. And I think that everyone's going to lose their shit when they find out what we're doing.
Good.
All right.
Well, if we can help out in any way, please let us
Yes.
know. I mean, because we'll be putting the word out anyway, even if you don't want us to.
Yeah.
So we'll,
Yeah.
as we
Oh,
always,
believe me, we want you to believe
Yeah.
me.
Oh, yeah.
as we always say, you know, tell your friends, tell your enemies. As long as you're telling somebody,
Right.
Yeah.
we're happy. So,
Right. No such
But-
thing as bad publicity.
absolutely.
Right.
But if
It
there's
says-
anything we can do, what?
Who says the dozen or so people that were puking in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. This is publicity. Yeah. But
I've never
marketing,
been so happy to find out
Yeah.
somebody got
I
sick.
know, right?
Really just
it was great. But if you guys do need, you know, a slightly bald, fat, you know, guy podcaster
Dude,
to
I'm
kill
already
off.
typecast in that role. Sorry.
Oh, come on now. Well, I can be the stunt double.
You're gonna stunt- okay.
No, I mean, again, if there's anything we can ever do for you guys, let us
It's
know.
appreciated. Thank
So-
you.
We're definite fans, and we are
Yeah.
ready to preach more Terrifier.
Much
But
appreciated.
Steve, thank you very, very much for
Yes.
talking with us and taking this time.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Alrighty.
man. Appreciate it.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. That was a great interview.
It was.
I am blown away by not only how humble he is, but his generosity to come on and do this.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Given like you mentioned during the interview, we're basically following up Kevin Smith, and as soon as they were talking to Kevin Smith, we're like, oh man,
good old
but
Kevin Smith sloppy seconds. Wow,
we'll
I'll
take it.
I will, sir.
But no, great. Really appreciated having him on. It was a fun conversation.
Yeah, really down to earth. I look forward to hopefully being able to get to talk to the rest of the guys from the cast after hearing Steve talking about them and singing their praises and everything. And man, I'm excited for 3. Really excited for 3.
Yeah, and I know they've apparently. I know it's basically been confirmed, but they did share the the graphic, the title card on Instagram. Did you see that?
I have not.
Yeah, I can't remember which one of them did it, but I saw Terrifier and then a big 3 in the background, that painted in blood.
Man. I'm sure I'll be showing that right now on the screen. I haven't seen it as of yet, but editor Chris will have put it on there. So, but anyway, cool. Well, like we do every week, we want to give you guys the opportunity to see a few things that are coming out here in the near future, whether they be in theater or on streaming, and those should be popping up on the screen right about now. There they are. Anyway, make sure you guys check out some of these films because, it gives people like Steve and people like us even the opportunity to do what we do. Big fanboys doing what we love. So anyway, help us, do a little bit more of that. And in the spirit of helping us, why don't you guys head on over and like and subscribe to this thing. Hit the big red button, hit the thumbs up while you're there, and hit the bell notification. So it felt like I hadn't said that in months. I was just like, I don't know what the words are. But anyway, so another segment that we like to do every week. We like to delve into the real life. To keep it real with you guys.
Right.
Things that can happen and do happen here in the real world. And we like to call this segment Demons. They're just like us. So, anyway, Shane, you have a story for us this week. We're breaking norms all over this show.
I know.
Breaking the norms.
I know, right?
But
this one is several years old, but I thought it
so
fit.
Am I.
And I know, right? Yeah. But no, you might remember this. It actually did make international news before it spread further. But we're starting in South Carolina, Greenville County. And police were never able to substantiate the reports of these children's claims. But on August 21st of 2016, several children reported suspicious-looking characters dressed in circus clown attire, white face paint, enticing kids to follow them into the woods.
I remember this.
Yes. Now, there were several different reports, some saying that they saw the clowns holding laser pointers, and when the kids noticed them, they took off running. Another woman came forward and said that at the apartment complex she saw a clown outside around 2:30 in the morning, just kind of standing there.
Yep.
Large figured clown with a blinking nose, whatever that is.
The Rudolph clown.
Standing under a post light near the garbage dumpster area, waved at her, but the suspect did not approach her or harm her. Several children in the area told police that clowns had displayed large amounts of money to them in an attempt to lure them into the woods.
I like money.
Yes. They believed that the clowns lived in a house in the woods that had been abandoned near at the end of a man-made trail. Police investigated the cabin. It was abandoned, and there was absolutely no sign that anybody lived there or had even been there.
Shape-shifting clowns.
And, yeah, things went quiet for about 8 days until even more reports started coming in. A teenage girl told sheriff's deputies that she saw a man taking pictures of kids, and shortly thereafter, the same man in a black jacket and a clown mask coming out of the woods. And after this happened, again, police investigated, were never able to find any suspects or track down any of these clowns, but what did happen is the reports started flooding in, first from North Carolina, and then further out, and then basically all over the place.
Yep.
Random clowns, sometimes staring quite malevolently at people. And, yeah.
Wow.
No explanation given, no suspects ever found. It remains a mystery to this day.
I still have that black coat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there
Wow.
we go.
I remember when all that.
Creepy clowns.
I remember when all that was going down. I do remember that.
I know, me
Man.
too.
Man. Yeah, that was everywhere. That was everywhere. I remember. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I've always wondered if that's ever going to pop up again. You know, and I was kind of shocked that it didn't this last year with Terrifier 2 coming out and all that sort of stuff. And,
Or the It movies, honestly, as like a viral marketing campaign. But no, this seemed to be completely unrelated. Just random clowns hanging out in the woods.
Wow.
So,
They were evil clowns from outer space.
right.
Wow. Yeah. And yeah, they never found who they were or who I was.
No.
Was it me? Hey, kids. Anyway, usually or always, not usually, always, weekly even, we like to do a little segment before we close everything out. It's called Pick or Pass, unless you guys have a better name for it, because I think the name is crap. But whatever. It should be something like a final girl, you know, like the final girl from every movie, or should we axe it? You know, something like that. That's what we're looking for. If you guys have any ideas, you know, something like, does it survive or does it get the axe? You know, something like that. If you guys can come up with something like that, leave the comments down below. And while you're there, like and subscribe.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter what we call it. I'm more than likely always going to still be letting the final girl live with whatever I'm talking about. So.
Yeah, they're always the short film that he lets live. So
this one is actually kind of a short film,
just compressed all together.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we took it upon ourselves, since we had kind of an interesting show this week. Yeah. But we wanted to take not only the interview, but take it all the way back to its roots, all the way back to Damien Leone's roots.
Mm-hmm.
We both checked out All Hallows Eve, the original Terrifier short, as well as the first short films involving Art the Clown. It's 3 short segments. It's an anthology, basically. So it's 3 different stories, all tied together with one overarching story of a babysitter watching 2 young children on Halloween night. And the young boy ends up with a VHS tape in his bag, and they proceed to
Yeah.
watch the tape. And it's me in a creepy black coat and a clown mask, and I'm like, "Hey, kids, hey, yeah." Anyway, what were your thoughts on it? What were your thoughts on this film?
So the funny thing about this is I actually saw the first segment is the Ninth Circle. Is that?
I think
the
that's what
first
it was
one?
originally, titled as.
Yeah. I actually saw that before I watched this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, yeah, like you said, the framing device here is they find in the movie, they find this videotape, they pop the videotape in, and then you get these 3 short films, right? But it was funny because the version I watched was like very low quality, but finally we got a hold of this thing and we watched it, and much better quality.
Because the first short film existed, and the last one existed prior to All Hallows Eve.
Right.
The first segment and the third segment. The second segment, I believe, was shot for All Hallows Eve, and then Damien wrote and directed and did all of the overarching story.
Right, the framing device. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I really liked it. The first segment is super weird.
Yeah.
It's the first
Very,
look we
very
get at Art the Clown, right? And it's funny seeing some of the stuff, the parts that Art the Clown are in. It's funny seeing those because a lot of those were then taken. Some of the things that he does were taken and put directly into the Terrifier films, right? The full films. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you get that but like in that first thing, the Ninth Circle, he's barely in it.
Yeah.
He's
very little.
He's sort of just like the setup, and then the rest of the short film has absolutely nothing to do with him at all.
Which, though, I do have to say, which I do find very, very interesting about this, and this may spoil either Terrifier 2 for some people or All Hallows Eve, but we know that Art the Clown at this point is some sort of supernatural whatever, or has some, but we do see that in this first segment. His eyes do the glowing thing. He's working for basically a demonic cult, which has Lucifer almost as the leader, if you want to call it that. But it's like a coven of witches, and they've got this horned behemoth, whatever, as their leader. So I don't know. Like, to me, seeing that is kind of like saying in Terrifier 2, where you're seeing more of these supernatural things come into play. I say more so Terrifier 2 than Terrifier 1. For sure. And not Terrifier.
Yeah, because OG, at the end of the first Terrifier is kind of where it establishes it, right?
Yeah.
Unless you've seen All Hallows Eve, then especially getting into the third segment. We'll skip back to the second one here in a second, but into the third segment, and then the overall framing device, very, very much.
Yeah.
Like the entire framing device itself ends up being this like supernatural, the supernatural thing. Yeah. Very, which I loved. I actually really loved the way that was played into the overall story. Yeah.
Oh, it's great the way that he tied it in. Yeah. The second segment, a little more sci-fi, little more.
Yeah.
It kind of had the one of those Twilight Zone kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it deals a lot more with alien abduction type thing and horror and all that. The second segment was good.
Yeah. I liked the second segment. I feel like it's something that I would.
You're more of a sci-fi horror guy, though.
Yeah. I really like sci-fi horror. I think this one had an interesting premise. And should he decide at some point, to take a break from Terrifier, I would love to see if he can take this concept and go somewhere with it.
That'd be great.
And especially, you mentioned Twilight Zone. Man, these costumes for the aliens, it's straight up like the goofy looking sort of thing you would have seen on an old Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Right. So if he were to ever decide to like pursue something like that again, I think he should lean into that like campy nonsense.
Oh yeah. Go for it. Yeah. And I think he would. Based off of,
I think
off of the stuff that he does or that we've seen from him so far, I think he would push a little bit farther into that. And I hope he would. But
and I guess we could mention, like, it seems non-connected at first. The whole second segment is like built around this creepy painting that the main character's husband painted, and she has it covered because she doesn't even like it.
Now, what's funny about this is when I was watching this, the second segment, I ended up texting Shane. I'm like, actually, I guess it was after. I talked to you about this after. I had to look up to see when this came out, when All Hallows Eve did, and when Devil's Candy came out. Because when they started into this, she was talking about her husband had painted this portrait or this picture, and he doesn't remember doing it. It felt like something was compelling him to paint it and all this sort of stuff, which also ties into Terrifier 2, I think, a little bit about all the drawings that the dad had done. And my theory is still that Art the Clown is possibly the dad. I'm just saying that. And the fact that Art maybe not was his real name, but Art is what he does.
Yeah.
And that's what...
Well, and what's funny is at one point, Damien Leone actually posted on Twitter, do you think Art is Sienna's dad? It was a poll, yes or no. Right, so he's clearly aware of the hypothesis that's out there, and he's playing into it. Whether or not that's actually the case, I still think it's funny that he's aware and he's playing into the questions that people have.
But the fact that he paints the bathrooms with his own feces and blood and all that sort of stuff, he's still doing art. His kills are artwork. Everything he does is art still at this point. So to me, it's like, Art may not be his name, but art is what he does. And art was always a part of his life because he was an artist. And now it's Sienna's life. She's an artist. So it's like, I'm like, maybe, So I don't know. Well, So, make sure you guys leave a comment below. Tell us what you guys think. Is Art Sienna's dad? And should Shane and I have a role in Terrifier 3? I tried to get Steve to open up on that one, but he says he's already got Fat Bald Guy covered. So I'll play like radio DJ, kill off a radio DJ. I'll play it. Shane and I'll play him. Yeah. Like, what's up? It's KFRG.
I'm sure.
Radio in the morning.
Just given the response and just the crowd that is responding to Terrifier 2, I'm sure like every single time they go anywhere, they're like, hey, if you need Art the Clown to kill somebody.
Yeah. I wouldn't it'd be like, hey, there's Jay and Silent Bob. Jay and Silent Bob in Terrifier 3. Look at him. And then it's like Art the Clown's like, and they're like snoochie boochies. So, but so then we get into the third segment, which is known as the original Terrifier film. This one sets up how devious and how dangerous Art the Clown actually is. I don't want to spoil much for this one. It's just
I don't either. I will say, going into it, I actually thought it was going to be a lot closer to
the original,
the Terrifier movie. It's not. There are elements that are pulled from it to go into Terrifier, but not much. No. It's quite a different movie, and it leans more heavily into the supernatural than the first, full length Terrifier film does. But I would say it's absolutely different enough that it's worth a watch.
It's definitely
it's basically a completely different
if you are looking at all to get your Art the Clown fix, this is where you get it. If you've already watched 1 and 2 over and over and over, I don't think you can wear a Blu-ray disc out like you could a VHS tape. Remember VHS? it would just like stretch after a while.
Yeah.
And then you get to scenes where it's just like, and as you're trying to watch it, and then it's just like, oh, don't worry about that. And then it's like, why is this tape stretched out in this one area right before the sex scene? It's not a problem. It's not like I kept rewinding and pausing and and replaying.
Sure. Anyway.
Yep. Anyway, if you're looking to get your fix for Art the Clown, and you have not watched All Hallows Eve yet, to me, definite pick. Definite, definite survive, really definite last girl. Or final girl. Not last girl, but final girl.
I really liked the way that the framing device of these 3 little short films. I like the way it ended too.
Yes.
Right. Playing even further into that creepy. I would love, and they have kind of hinted at this. I don't know how good it'll be, or not how good it'll be. I don't know how true it will be, but they have kind of hinted that Terrifier 3 will kind of maybe lean more into the creepiness and not just the blood and guts, as great as Terrifier 2 was. And if they do that, I think we'll get closer to what this is, and I will love it. Because I really love just how downright creepy the framing device for All Hallows Eve was.
There was really good. No getting away. I mean, once he had his sights set on you, there is no getting away from Art the Clown. And it was just brilliant. Anyway, check it out. You got to rent it. At this point, you just got to. I mean, that's all you can do. But it's worth it. You know what? Even better yet, go pick it up. If you're at all fanboys and nerds like us, you can see, as Steve was so nice to point out, we are all fanboys. We are all nerds.
Yeah, we are his kind of people.
You like physical copies of things like us. When it matters. When it seriously matters. So pick it up. If you can get a hold of a copy, pick it up. It's worth it.
It is.
Anyway, that's it for this week. We will be back next week doing another film review. We talked about it on the last one. I hit my mic again. We talked about it on the last episode that we had done. But we didn't say that it was going to be the next episode. We said the next
film.
So anyway,
and the next film is still, we're looking to be bodies.
Yes, we're gonna follow up this interview with bodies. So anyway, that'll be next week. You make sure you guys stick around, check that one out. Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you can find out exactly when it drops. Because otherwise you'll just be out there with all the losers who don't know. But anyway, also make sure to follow us on social media at Casters of Horror, pretty much everywhere. Anyway, that's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, don't care. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Chris Mess.
I'm Shane. Bye.
See you guys.